What's up? I'm smoking. I stopped smoking and I started vaping. What I noticed that I thought it's like a better thing to do. That my teeth gonna be more whiter. And so I gave up smoking and now I'm back to smoking cigarette. And I thought that it's gonna be so much easier to stop smoking, but somehow this craving, I think it is like a serious addiction. So like I just ran out and like bought a pack of cigarettes, and I noticed that from vaping, I think this is like a thing that no one is like talking about, but it was really like starting like to damage my skin. So I was like, fuck, am I like absorbing some kind of like mysterious chemicals? Well, anyway, I just gave up vaping. So now I'm smoking a cigarette. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to talk about the fairy tale. I have this tattoo, which is like a holding a snake, like a serpent. And it is connected with my name, which is Eglė, and it has this fairy tale, the Queen of Serpents, behind it. So I was so inspired, by like my name has this fairy tale, like the Queen of Serpents, and I was like, oh my god, this is like one of my first tattoos. I'm like, yay, I drew it for myself. And this fairy tale, it is about like two sisters went to swim in the lake, and they left the clothes, on the shore. And then what happened is that some kind of like a grass snake came into their clothes, into Eglė's clothes, and said, "I'm not gonna give it back to you unless you're gonna marry me." So Eglė was like, what the fuck? Well, I need to go home, naked. Like, this like kind of sucks. So this is why she agreed to marry that snake which came into her clothes. So then she married, and apparently this snake was actually could turn into a man. So and he lived like under the lake. So they went to live together under the lake, and they had like a bunch of kids, really like lots of children. And one time, Eglė was like, "Come on, I need to see my family. I kind of miss them all." And he said, "Cool, you can go to visit your family. But when you want to come back, back to live like with me under the lake, you need to call me." And he gave like a certain like a spell, like how to call him. He said his name was Žilvinas, and he said to Eglė, when you want to call me, he said like, "Žilvina, Žilvinėli, if you are alive, come with the foam of milk, and if you are dead, come with the foam of blood." So Eglė took the children and went to see the family. She had lots of brothers and sisters and everything. So she was visiting the family, and everyone like la 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 happy, but like the family and the brothers especially really missed Eglė, and because they would not see her that often because she was living under a fucking lake. So they were not really happy, and they really hated like Eglė's husband, who was that grass snake who tricked Eglė into marrying him. Because like, come on dude, like can't you just like come like a normal human being, and to ask to marry you need to do some kind of manipulation tricks, like to sneak into the clothes of the girl who is like naked swimming in the lake, and then say, "Hey, I'm not gonna give it back to you unless you're gonna marry me." That's totally not fair manipulation. And Eglė was like so kind of afraid to be naked and like to be ashamed, I don't know, that she agreed to marry him. I don't know, doesn't sound like a love story that I would like choose myself to this day, but anyway. So Then the brothers of Eglė were super not happy that like this fucking snake stolen their sister as they saw it, and they were like, come on, we need to get it back. So they were asking the children of Eglė, hey, can you tell us that those words, how to call your father, that he would like come from under the lake, because they fucking wanted to kill him. And like the children were like not telling how to call the father, but the youngest daughter of Eglė, she was like, as everyone saw, like the weakest, and she told how to invite the father to the shore. So the brothers, they pick up these like fucking guns, like they pick up the siekle, like the death is walking around with that shit. So, and then they went to this lake and they invited this sea snake, this serpent, this grass snake is actually originally, and then he came to the shore and the brothers fucking killed the fucking snake. And then they told nothing to Eglė, kept it to themselves. And then Eglė like finished with her family and like is already to go like back home to live under the lake, pick up children, and she's going to the shore and like trying to invite her husband to come. And she is saying like, Žilvine, Žilvinėli, if you are alive, come with the foam of milk, and if you are dead, come with the foam of blood. And guess what? What she saw? She sees fucking blood just coming, and she's like, whoa, what the fuck happened? And she got super, super angry. It's like asking children, like, who of you told how to invite my husband, your father, to the shore? And like no one's like, no, nothing. And the youngest daughter was really like trembling, like she was like really like afraid. So she told that, well, actually, yeah, I told how to invite the father. And Eglė got so fucking angry that she turned her children into the trees, and she turned herself even into the tree, and she turned herself into the spruce tree that is always like green, like the Christmas tree as we all know it, and like one son into the oak, and like other to another birch. And like the youngest daughter was that tree who has the leaves who are always shaking, because she was like so like scared and everything. So she said like, oh, you're gonna have the leaves who are always like shaking as if you are always like afraid, and so on. So that's the end of the story. Like, she went to a swim, the serpent, the snake came into her clothes, which were on the shore. Then the serpent fucking blackmailed her, you're gonna marry me or I'm not gonna give you back your clothes. And then she married him, she made children, she lived under the lake. And then her brothers killed the fucking snake, and then she got angry and turned herself and children into the fucking trees. So I thought that this is like super cool story, and this is why I'm having this name and I'm having this like tattoo with the serpent. And I was like, wow, it is so cool. Like Eglė was apparently like a magician, like a fucking witch, because you definitely need to have some kind of like superpowers to be able to turn your children and yourself into the tree. This is like a being like some kind of like an alchemist, you can like turn like from one object to turn like simple metals into gold. So to turn human being into the tree, it is like pretty crazy story. And then I'm thinking, and I was like always understanding this Lithuanian fairy tale only in one way, understanding that, well, these brothers are totally douchebags. Like, why you fucking kill the husband of Eglė? Like, this is not fair, you know? Like, and all the children now trees, and she's a tree. Like, the husband is killed, and like, well, this is kind of like brutal story. And this is one of the most famous Lithuanian fairy tales, and like everyone knows it. It's like it's everywhere. And this is where I lived in my hometown. I live next to the lake, and now they build a fucking sculpture from wood with Eglė, the queen of serpents, and there's literally like a serpent next to her feet. And I came back to my hometown and I was like, whoa, what the fuck, they build like a sculpture like for me. I was thinking that they built a sculpture for me because my name is Eglė. And then just like recently I started like to look at this fairy tale from like a kind of a little bit different angle. And then I thought, wait, what if we all are wrong? Maybe there's some kind of like different explanation to this like fairy tale. And then I was thinking about, all right, we already know what the snake represents in all the cultures. I study like so much of like mythologies and all these like occult arts and art history, and you know, like a serpent, snake, even like a dragon, kundalini snake, and it's even like from the Bible, the snake, it's always have like specific connotations, what it means. And then I just kind of came up with like this another idea what this fairy tale could actually mean. So, alright, imagine that you are now going to swim to the lake and you put your clothes on the shore and then you are naked. And then the serpent comes in your clothes and kind of resides there and saying, I'm not gonna give it back. And then I thought, what if these clothes are kind of representing like our body and like our body vessel? And this, for example, serpent, it always like has this connection and this like connotations that the serpent always has this like secret knowledge and wisdom and some kind of like a supernatural wisdom and supernatural knowledge and something what, you know, as if would be like in the Eden, that the serpent has certain knowledge to suggest to Eve and kind of was like tempting her to eat that fucking apple. But in this fairy tale, like the serpent is even more shameless. He is like literally coming into the clothes and saying, hey bitch, I'm not gonna give it back to you unless you're gonna marry me. So it's even like more hardcore blackmail happening here. So it looks like she had no fucking choice just to marry that fucking serpent, because it's like, hey, I don't want to walk around naked, you know, I just was swimming in the lake and now like I'm out, I'm naked, it's gonna be like kind of uncomfortable for me to go back home naked. So it's like, damn it, I'm gonna fucking marry you. But on the other hand, it's like, are you such a like weak bitch? I would just like, I don't know, take a stick and like throw away that fucking snake. I think there actually was a choice. And also, bitch, you came with like 2 or 3 sisters to swim in that lake, and now you cannot like say no, cannot resist to some fucking small snake that is now like came into your clothes. It's like, oh no, there's a little snake in my clothes, I guess nothing left for me, I have to marry him. It's like, well, it looks a little bit weak, and it looks like kind of, I don't know, you could find another decision. Anyway, maybe she was already like longing for like a husband, and she was like, oh, I don't give a fuck anymore to marry a snake, a man, just bring it on. I'm gonna marry anyone. Maybe she was desperate, who knew? Maybe she was thinking, nothing to lose, it's boring in this village anyway, so I'm gonna marry a snake, some adventure. So there could be like different reasons why she agreed for this marriage, because for me it doesn't look like there was no other choices. Also, you could borrow clothes from your sisters. Why? It's like so many like other options what you could do, you know, instead of agreeing immediately to like some kind of guy turns who is like a fucking snake, like tells you some kind of manipulation, like blackmails you a little bit, and having no resistance. Yeah, that is weak. But we people, we are weak. We are weak because this is exactly why I was like smoking today, smoking cigarette, because I thought like yesterday, all right, I'm gonna be strong. I stopped vaping and I'm not gonna fucking smoke, and oh, I'm free of that. Well, guess what? It's not that easy. Like in the evening, I was like, oh my god, walking around and like thinking, what can I smoke? Because like it is like some kind of inner craving, you know, kind of like a addiction, I guess it's called, or something. So I stopped one thing, and then I'm kind of like, just looking immediately what to replace it with. That sucks. Probably because of that kind of weakness that is so common for us as the human beings. In this fairy tale, Eglė was also like weak and said like, alright, yes, I agree, you know, I'm weak, I'm gonna agree with whatever conditions that fucking snake is like proposing. And then since like this thing like about marrying the snake, it is a snake could turn into a man. That also like shows that the snake is fucking some kind of like a magical being and like fucking magician. Because who can change, you know, these like shapes to be, well, now I'm a man, now I'm a snake. So obviously that Eglė married a magician. And also because who lives under fucking lake, you know, people live around the lake in the houses, you know, like normal human beings. And so who was this mysterious guy who can change from a person into the snake, could build like a fucking castle under the lake? That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Like totally now I understood. The serpent that Eglė married was totally like occultist, magician, and alchemist. And he invited her to live with him. And obviously what he did there when he invited Eglė to live with him under the lake, he taught her all kind of magic. Because how could you explain in this fairy tale that in the end Eglė had these fucking supernatural powers to turn herself and her children into the trees? You must know something. You must have some kind of like a crazy knowledge to change object from being one into another. So now I have this like a theory that Eglė married a serpent who was magician, and she went to live under the lake where she learned all the fucking secrets about magic. She became a fucking witch. Her brothers were not too happy, neither that she's gone away from home, neither that she's fucking hanging out with the fucking snakes. And they were like, fucking shit, we need to kill this fucking serpent, because they saw that maybe this is not leading to good, you know. They got estranged from their sister family, like disconnected, and like the sister turned into some kind of like a occult witchcraft, now like lives under the lake and like hanging with the snakes. And then I thought, what if instead that we thought always that these brothers are fucking evil, how dare you like to kill You know, now I was thinking, what if they were actually trying just to save their sister because they fucking missed her and they wished her to come back, to join back the family. Like, stop hanging out with those fucking snakes and doing all kind of these like shit, whatever you are doing. Yet Eglė could not see that. What good these brothers are wishing to her. And they were like, no, I want to live under the lake. I want to hang out with the snakes. I like to do all these magic and learn everything from the serpent. And well, of course, we fall in love with all kind of like weird people, fucking snakes and all kind of like creatures, you know. I fell in love with like such like people who had so many red flags. Obviously that snake has lots of red flags. First, snake was like manipulating her into the marriage. That's like really huge red flag. And then living under the lake, it's like some kind of like means super distant from your family. So it's basically stealing you from the circles that you already know and taking you somewhere far away where you are fucking isolated from all the world. That sounds like, I don't know, living in the golden cage a little bit. And as we all know, living in the golden cage, it's not what you as a free human being usually would seek. So it's like, I don't know, holding like a fucking hostage, I would say. And then, alright, since you married him like magician snake who can like shape shift and like build the castles under the lake, obviously you're gonna start learning all those tricks because you are one family now. So you signed the fucking papers that you are married, and of course then you are learning all that stuff. And even more than that, you are like making babies with that guy who fucking blackmailed you into marrying him and manipulated you into distancing you from your family. And then, of course, Eglė was a certain level of like a brainwashed, and she was like thinking like, everything is cool, at least I'm married, bitch, I'm winning, living in the castle. Doesn't matter that he is a snake, doesn't matter that we live in some like a far distant place under the lake where no one can visit me. It's like, I'm happy, like, I don't know, maybe she was doing some kind of affirmations for herself to or meditating, that she was like believing that she's totally happy. Still, like these relationships that we have with the family, well, it is like in our heart, and time after time we still miss our family. So it is pretty logical that you would like to go to see them, you know. And if you need like to fucking ask your husband, it's like, hey, can you please allow us to let go? And it's like, I don't know, I think that we should be able to like call or visit our family whenever we want. It's like asking your husband permission to speak with your mother. It sounds like a little bit, I don't know, some kind of tyranny in the house. And then he gives some kind of like a spell word and like how to call him, like when she wants to come back. It's like, why I cannot just have a key and just come back and go outside whenever I want? It's like, why? I mean, if we are a family living together in the fucking castle and having children together, why don't you just like already give me the key? Why I need like to use some kind of like I don't know, special words to ask for you and you giving me permission to come back? Also, that's not that much of freedom. So then these brothers who are witnessing what the fuck is happening with Eglė, she's fucking brainwashed and like holding captive somewhere under the lake. Of course they're gonna be fucking angry, and of course they want her back. So they try to fucking save her, and they get that like those spell words how to invite Žilvinas to come to the shore from the youngest daughter. And actually, instead of seeing her that she was like, oh, the so much fearful and everything. Now I see she was fucking kind of brave, because she was maybe also like afraid that maybe something doesn't feel right, and maybe she didn't like to live under the lake where, I don't know, like you are isolated from any other children. You cannot go out and play, it kind of sucks. Maybe I want to like be under the sun, and like play in the, I don't know, in the grass, and like go around, enjoy flowers and nature, and I need to live now under the lake, isolated from all society. Maybe she got fucking bored. Maybe she wanted like to meet more children and hang out with them. Who knew? So obviously in the end we see that Eglė already learned some kind of like a tricks from her husband, and now she became like magician, alchemist, and a witch, whatever you want to call, because she could not see like beyond the action, and from being so emotional, caught in her own emotions, she was like, oh my god, my husband is dead, I don't see any lessons here, I don't see nothing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna turn everyone into the trees. The end. And it's like, it's like, wait a second, darling, stop one moment. What would have happened if she would like sit down, maybe like have like a cup of tea, and just like think what kind of lesson could be like behind all of what happened, instead of like immediately just like from being so fueled with emotions and rage and like everything, immediately just starting to use like some kind of magic spells and fucking trying to revenge even her own children. It's like, come on, don't you like want your children to have a nice life and like grow up and like create their own families? Why the fuck you need to punish everyone and be so fucking angry? It's like she needs some counseling or something. So now I'm thinking, instead of like glorifying her and for all these actions, I mean, alright, your brothers killed one person, like a snake husband, serpent, but you killed all your fucking children. There were like 5 children or 6 children, and you killed yourself. So it's literally like a suicide, and you killing children, and you sacrificed all your children. Like fucking so many lives you took with yourself, just because that you could not handle your emotions, your rage, and you could not look at this from some kind of different perspective and see some kind of lesson in it. So it's like, whoa, shouldn't we like stop next time, and before fucking killing children or killing ourselves, ask ourselves, hey, maybe there's some kind of different solution also possible. And it's like, what's the point of having just like a, I don't know, like a gravestones, which are those trees now standing somewhere? It's like, alright, like maybe, it happens that like your husband could even like die in a war or like die in a car accident. Does it mean that now you're gonna fucking kill all your children and just gonna, kill yourself? No. And it is like for all situations in life it is applied. Like if something terrible happened, and even if you feel so much like a heartache and like pain and like anger, that doesn't mean that you need to revenge. And on what? On your weakest daughter who gave up all that name, how to call your husband? It's like, you are killing your weakest, your youngest child. Come on, dude, this is like not cool. So it is really that we can learn a lot from all these like fairy tales. But one thing is that, do we always learn the right things. First I was thinking, oh my god, it is so cool. She's hanging out with the serpent, being magician, turning, children into trees. And I'm like, no, turning a human into a tree, you literally kill that human. The human cannot live human life and cannot do human things, cannot grow up, cannot make families. So it is not cool. And bitch, instead of living your life and finding another husband and just being, well, shit happens. No, you were so weak. You were so weak, full of rage and despair, miserable, and you used magic to destroy yourself. So now I'm looking at this fairy tale from a different angle, and never in my life, in 30 years, I looked at this fairy tale from different angle. So it is pretty interesting discovery for me. And now, since I have this name, Eglė, which means spruce, that Christmas tree, I'm like, wow, it feels like, almost lived all the fairy tale, but in the end I was like, no, I'm not gonna turn myself into the tree, and I'm not gonna kill anyone. But also, why we even have this, fairy tale, and why this fairy tale could not end happily, where would be the end that I proposed, for example. Because we kind of harsh stories. and we need those harsh stories, and the story could not happen in any way other but as it happened, because otherwise we as human beings wouldn't have what to talk about. Everyone just lived happily, nothing ever happened. No, we want some kind of dramatic stories with the heartbreaks, stories where someone gets killed. We like stories where it's revenge, where there's some kind of woo, mystic and weird shit happening. But this depends on us, what we gonna take from these stories. Will we want to be identified with these characters in a way that, oh wow, this character is so cool, I want to be like that character? Or we will see even those characters which we thought to be as heroes, maybe wow, this is a tragic hero story. Do I want to be like that hero? Do I want to end my life being a tree? Do I want to kill all my children? No. Maybe, I don't know. So we have the power to choose different ending for the story. So this is why those fairy tales exist. Yes, we can learn a lot from them, but it only depends from us what we gonna take out from that. So you can never say that, oh, all these myths and all these fairy tales and all these legends, they are evil. They are about some kind of trickery, and we should not ever read them. No, we should read them, and we can learn a lot from them. And this is just example how I learned from this fairy tale, Eglė, the Queen of Serpents. Having this name, Eglė, old Lithuanian fairy tale, and which I even will never fucking forget since I have it tattooed on my chest. That's a great reminder. So, yeah, in my life now, I'm really fascinated once again with the fairy tales. And I even started writing fairy tales because I'm so amused how it is amazing to be able to tell your own stories using the structure of the fairy tale. So read fairy tales, interpret them, but after making one interpretation, don't forget that there might be different sides to it and different interpretation. So, alright people, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and let's enjoy this life, be grateful, and yeah, life is a fairy tale itself. So, love you all and take care.